Welcome to the StockMentor.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stock mentor, Brian Johnson, making professional trading simple. And the markets, what they do? High base, move sideways before eventually breaking up and over the resistance, but not on all the indices. So we saw the Nasdaq was down again today, once again showing relative weakness compared to the rest of the markets, but only for the last couple days. Let me get into that when we get to the Nasdaq part. I guess I'm on page 10 and we're on page 1. So let's go back and start with the Dow 60-minute. You can see it getting up and over the 10606. Now this is the area I was telling you would be a very defensible long, and that was up and over 10600. This isn't the most confident of breakouts for sure from the Dow side. It is, however, up and over some of this previous overhead resistance. 6 points is really nothing, drop in the hat. But what was most interesting is this big drop that we saw here early in the day, only to be met by the bulls, who drug it right back up again. Gee, go figure, same song, different verse. We see this all the time. Look at this. Huge drop down. No, bulls go, yeah, not today. Another big red candle followed by a big white candle. Big red candle followed by a big white candle. We can go back and see this all the time. Here's just an exaggerated view of that. Huge drop down followed by a huge move back up again. So the bears are, I don't know, they're maybe testing the waters, but really what we're seeing are the bulls. Every time it's like they're playing with the bears almost. They're like, yeah, go ahead, take it down. Oh, no, 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 just kidding. Ha ha. It's like Big Brother. Takes the ball away from his little brother and says, here you go, here you go. Nope, can't have it. Same type of thing. It always reminds me of the Messing with Sasquatch commercial where the guys are in the car and every time Sasquatch gets close, they like drive away. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. It's the same type of analogy. So it's exactly what we saw again today. Moving on to the daily on the Dow, you can see once again holding this 10,500 level very nicely, acting as very strong support. Let me go ahead and update this here and show you. Here we go. See, another test. The low of the day, 10,505. Right back here, a close test of the 10,500 area. Here, a definite test of the 500, then a break. That was that Thursday where I said, well, not real convinced of it yet. Sure enough, on Monday, we broke back up, and now we're holding into a high base formation again before breaking out. So let's watch to see if the confirmation comes through tomorrow, and we just continue our climb upwards. From a 60-minute on the Nasdaq, we can see it kind of falling backwards here. Now, I talked about relative weakness in the Dow or in the Nasdaq, and it's true. It has been relatively weak the last couple days, but let's compare it to what we've seen over the past few weeks, and it's like far and beyond what the other indices are doing. So for it to pull back a couple of days is no big deal. It's also holding support very nicely at the 1870 level. Now, in the longer term, because I always consider the Nasdaq to be a leading indicator, I would not be surprised to see the Dow and the SPX maybe pull back a little bit here and follow what the Dow was doing or the Nasdaq is doing. I'm not sure if it's if the Nasdaq is a couple days ahead, if it's a week ahead, we won't know quite yet. But when the SPX and the Dow start to pull back, watch and see what the Nasdaq does. Maybe it'll start to move upwards again, and there you'll have your little divergence where the Nasdaq's moving up and the other indices are moving down. They're just kind of catching up to where the Nasdaq is. That's the way I've seen it so far. But look how it's pulled back right into lower support and is holding nicely. Trapped between the moving averages and this 1870 area. From a daily standpoint, the Nasdaq hanging out on top of this line. Remember how I told you I really like this little blue line I had drawn in here? Well, guess what? I still really like this little blue line I have drawn in here. Hitting here once, closing there, moving up, coming back, touching it yesterday, breaking below it today, only to come all the way back up and close above it by the end of the day. So a very strong look to the Nasdaq itself being able to hold this level of support. 1860, I said, was the level I'm looking at first to get below and more importantly close below. Notice how we got below it today. It was a very good short entry for those of you that like to play these type of breakouts. If you kept a tight stop on it, you made money on it today. If not, you might still be in this trade. I would probably, if you went short today, I would be out of it up and over 1895. But play it as you will. But this was not a bad entry into this. But look at how strong the markets were to get it back up and over by the end of the day. That's why I talk about closes sometimes. Weekly candle, another little teeny tiny candle. Now we are finished with Thursday, leaving one day left in the week. And we'll see where this finishes. Maybe a strong move up tomorrow puts us in a little white candle that gets us up towards the 1900 level. I don't know. Really hard to predict right now. I don't even really want to predict. I'm just going to let the have my support and my resistance. When it breaks below certain levels, that's where I'm going to look to go short. Still looking to short this thing below that trend line on the daily I was showing you earlier. Let's see where this finishes for the week, but you can see it slowly grind its way upwards. Doesn't really matter what the bears try to do. This thing just slowly grinds upwards. SPX on a 60-minute, you can see here up and above the 1140 area today. Now, I did make mention back here that up and above 1130 was my entry. Then above 1135 was another good entry. We had a breakdown a breakdown earlier today, and look how it was followed up by. I'm sorry, not earlier today, but yesterday our low for the day for just today was 1131. The previous close at 1137. Was that today? Yeah, it was. That was a break today. I'm sorry. So we had a breakdown followed by that quick move back up. Once again, the bulls slapping the hands of the bears. So we continue in this little rising bear flag channel, whatever you want to call it, until we see something a little bit more definite to the downside. This would have been a very good opportunity to get short. Once again, though, the bulls turn it around, take it back up. This is still a good trade and one that I'll take. Well, I really wanted a move below 1130 to get a little bit more bearish on this, but I would have taken a break of this 20 today. But the bulls just absolutely refuse to let this thing drop right now. So quick move down only to see it come right back up again. Just more of the same that we've been watching. If we go to a daily on the SPX, you can see it hitting that support and bouncing from there, that 1130 area. The low was 1131, 1130, 1131, whatever. It's all about the same area. I'm not going to bicker about a point. People are front running that when it gets down towards the 1130 area. But you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 days up in a row, and now it's up and holding above all of this overhead resistance, testing it and holding again today. Once again, the bigger move is below 1130. From a weekly standpoint, really looks very bullish for the weekly candle at this point. Up and over all of this, we've got good volume already in the markets. It's not great, but it's decent. Decent volume here, and up and over the previous week's high. So the SPX doing very well from a weekly standpoint. VIX on a daily, we saw it down ever so slightly, but you can see it playing with this little green line down here, still trying to hold it as well as it can. So while the markets were up ever so slightly, the VIX was down, still confirming the move, but it's really not going anywhere. Just no fear here at all. Getting lower and lower, and the lower it gets, once again, the cheaper those options prices get. So it's not bad for us option players to see the VIX dropping a little bit. The markets are going to go